Are you saying you faked with me?
Yeah.
Wrong. Now you're single.
What do you know about sexual relations?
Is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it?
I'm a little worried about being a slut.
You're listening to the Come With Us podcast, talking the good, the kinky, and the ugly. Here are your hosts, Beth, Aaron, and Tina.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome all you holes and fools out there. Thank you for joining our first Come With Us podcast that we are doing actually on camera. So again, bear with us. We're losing our virginity here. Thanks for helping us pop our cherry. But today on Come With Us podcast, we are talking all about the CES, Consumer Electronics Show of 2022, and all of the different sexy vibrators and toys and props that they've got there, and what the heck it took for finally 2022 for sexy things to go mainstream. So glad you're here. Welcome, Tina and Aaron. I am so excited. I know you guys are very eager to talk about some of these things that caught our attention.
Yeah. Eventually we need to go to this thing, but planning and all these stupid regulations and crap. Yeah. So maybe in 2023 we will be.
That's a good goal for us. I like that. We can have it kick off our tour of all sorts of things, including because some of the porn shows and stuff are in January as well. So we can just go bounce from one sexy show to another sexy show. Good goals.
Yeah. And I also think that with like CES specifically, it's expanding sex and health every year. So, I think that it's getting much more prominent at the show than it used to be. So,
Well, Tina, you want to give them a little bit of a history of what happened? Because this kind of the fuss started, if you will, in 2019.
Yeah. So sex toys or sex companies have kind of always been allowed, but under like the health and wellness category. And in 2019, there's a company that submitted it under the robotics category specifically also. And they won. And it was this.
Which category did they win in?
They won in like the robotics innovation category, not in like the sex or health and wellness part. But also that didn't have its own specific category either. It was just under health and wellness. But they won, and then they rescinded the award because they said it didn't really fit the robotics standards. It was this company called they're pretty famous.
Lara DiCarlo.
Lara DiCarlo. And she made this with like in accordance, like this year, their tech is like, they have collaborated with Oregon State's like robotics laboratory and stuff. But in the past, like she developed these with people who are like engineers and stuff. But it's this vibrator that is like literally uses like microbiology and robotics to like fit your vagina. Like this one person did a review on it where like she said it felt like a robot was up there, but it's like a very specific, very expensive piece of tech that's supposed to give you like this great orgasm or like really stimulate like, a real orgasm. Anyways, they submitted, they won, but they took it away because it wasn't considered like robotics. And then they like appealed and they actually ended up giving them the award back. So then after that, since 2019, they've now developed like a sex and wellness like tech category for these companies in and of itself. So now they have, their own category. And I think like there's a lot more, people who are now submitting and having expos and a lot more tech that's going to come out of this.
Because it was just kind of a sham, right? The judges thought there was lots of robotics. That's why they gave the award. Right. And it was only then that the CES got so much publicity. And it's a combination of suction and vibrator. So it sucks on the clitoris as well as has an insertable that vibrates. And so that particular item got so much press that then I don't know what happened to the the board and stuff, but that was
because it was too quote unquote obscene for like the robotics category. So
right.
which
is fairly ridiculous. But yeah, so basically they were like, oh my God, we are promoting, God forbid, sex. And they rescinded the award. And then there was real outcry about it. So much so that they did give it back, which is pretty amazing.
And then created a new category called sex tech.
Right. Which isn't that amazing? Because it's kind of like, like, okay, we're still going to segregate you. We're going to put you in this one little area now and keep you in there because, gosh forbid, you should beat something else out. Or the fact is sexy is still, it's a $13 billion industry or something in this world. Like it's amazing how much money goes into sexy. And it's amazing how much technology has come from the sexy world into the other realms because there's been so much money. The Oculus, the video, VR glasses and things like that. So much of that started because of porn stuff and then gets translated in. So,
especially with Meta now becoming like the thing, y'all know, like the Metaverse, everyone's talking about it, like Facebook and everything. I feel like we're like totally going to be entering like a whole new realm of like sex and like virtual reality and like, there was like, I saw a video on TikTok the other day, like making fun of like someone cheating on their partner in like the Metaverse,
I was just thinking, of course that's going to happen.
Yeah, obviously, so with that, I'm sure there'll be a ton of like very interesting and very probably weird too.
Yeah. Well, that's like those sex robots that you could, they wanted to have the sex robot rental,
the
sex
brothel
dolls and stuff. So yeah, the sex doll brothel. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah,
right.
It was supposed to be here in town.
Yeah. Yeah. And they chased that away they couldn't even do it. They couldn't find an appropriate law. So what they did was they made getting permits for the space. That's all. They just made it a bureaucratic nightmare for them. And that's how they chased them away. So it's, we really have to come to terms with our versions of sexy and stuff. So, but, so what happened? So in 2019, then they started, and there was this big uproar about that one particular item winning the prize. Then in 2000, I think it was also maybe in 2019, 2020, another manufacturer of vibrators and feminine pleasure products, if you will, they actually sued the New York Transit Association because they wanted to have ads placed in subways about their vibrators, and they were turned down. And they argued again that there were ads on the subways for Viagra or men's enhancement things and for testosterone clinics and all these other sexual well-being issues. And why is it that somehow a vibrator, which just because it's about female sexuality and orgasm and pleasure, why should that be banned? And that was a big deal. And they've recently been successful on that front too. So I think that's kind of cool. So again, this is making things go mainstream. Yeah, which I think is good. What would you do, Aaron, if you got on a subway and you saw an ad for vibrators?
I would look past it because I just like everything else, be like, oh, okay. Like, you realize that my drive every day, my commute to my regular job, I pass 2 or 3 different billboards for different adult boutiques around the town. So it's like now it's all white noise or whatever you would call it for a visual. But I mean, it wouldn't really, unless it was something to specifically catch my attention, I probably wouldn't even notice it was there.
Yeah, I think that's good. I don't know if you remember, but it used to be that it wasn't okay to advertise like tampons, and maybe feminine pads were okay. Like that, getting those ads on TV was even this big struggle. Gosh knows when. It's just, and toilet paper has been advertised on TV for gosh knows how long. So I think it's a little crazy, but anyway. All right. Well, so you want to talk about, some of the things that they are now showing at CES?
Yeah.
All right.
Aaron, you start off. Anything interesting that caught your eye?
I mean, there's a whole lot of different freaking fancy stuff. This is my thing, is that how much of this extra time that these engineers and stuff put into building these would have gone into making something different that might have, stopped a bus from running off a cliff or something like that? Like,
Well, yeah,
I get it.
but like,
I get it. Women's are more difficult to achieve, but for guys, I mean, we were born with the two best fucking tools. So you don't like. You might want to go and make something like that. Fine, cool. You know, hey, we made a Fleshlight. That didn't take a whole lot of engineering, but nothing beats.
That's actually not true, though.
The thought process.
No, for the Fleshlight, the reason that got so popular was not the general concept, right? Which
no,
is,
but I'm just talking about the general concept.
The cock and stroke. But it's the texture.
Yeah,
It's the
I'm just talking about the general
and the way
concept
that it
of the
feels
engineering
and everything. Yeah,
I mean, you
but
could say
I
that
think
about
engineering-
any innovation.
Yeah.
Like, you could stop and say, like, oh, the smartphone, it works. It uses email. We
Right.
can search the web. Why are we innovating the smartphone? Like, with tech, like, I think especially with Corona, like, you're now seeing tech, like, a lot of it's like virtual, and also like it's allowing, like, especially in like the sex toy industry, it's allowing for people to be in two separate places and also enjoy like a sexual experience with each other, which I think Corona is like heavily influenced. So like with every other tech innovation, sex also has to like evolve and like meet the needs of people. Like, you could be quarantining in London while your partner's in New York and you want like a really intimate experience. Well, these apps provide it, where vibrators can now like control, it's very hands-on, like, all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, and I think that's one of the big product areas that is showing up at CES and is changing in all the boutiques that you see the signs for, Aaron, and stuff, is those the vibrators or whatever sort of sexy pleasure props that are controlled or interconnected via internet and website.
Yeah,
and that started several years ago.
Yeah,
but
I don't have anything
now
against
it's
them.
definitely taking off.
I just think that, to me, it's overwhelming because there is a plethora, and they just keep coming out with new and new and new and new and new. Like, I don't have the brain power to go sifting through every single thing that's new on every level. I mean, you just said it yourself. Tech. I mean, I work in radio, broadcast engineering. I get new freaking tech emails all the time, and this is new, and hey, have you checked out this product? I don't have enough time to do it on every single aspect of my life. That's just crazy.
Right. Yeah, and that's it. So we each pick the sort of our areas that we like, because there are some people who get excited every time a new video game comes out. And they are like, oh, these graphics are so much better. And, I've never been into video games, so I couldn't tell you one from the other.
I don't know. I feel like my thought process on this part is like, because I've seen them come out with like a new sexy tech object, but then all of a sudden, okay, cool, we've got the new thing that nobody else has. Great. It's $300 for this one piece of tech, and then 9 months later, the entire company goes belly up because guess what? People aren't spending $300 to have an orgasm, especially most guys, because guess what? Free. My hands are free.
Oh,
That's true, because this year is the first year that they've had men's sexual health as a category at CES, which previously has been absent.
That's
so they
fine.
obviously have demand for men's sexual health.
But
They
all
do.
these
And
all
in
these companies
fact-
trying to get in there and startups and stuff like that, hey, if I buy something, cool, what's the actual odds? And I feel like companies that make sex toys, it's much more likely that they're just going to disappear off the map within a year or 2 years, whereas,
No way.
hey,
There's so many obscure, expensive
No.
tech stuff that people just you can browse the internet and find like weird stuff to buy for $300, like things that find your golf balls.
I'm not
things
saying that you
like-
can't.
yeah. So, and I think actually by the time there probably are people that are working on their own sexy things at home, and you never even hear about those. Those go belly up like quietly. By the time anything hits a shop, basically, or more than one, right? Unless it's somebody's best friend and they just have one demo or something, then it has been tested and tested and tested and stuff, because it is not easy to get all of these different retailers to carry it. And that's so Lovense or something. A lot of these companies, what they do is they're selling directly to consumers to start with. So that's where, if you buy something directly from a manufacturer and they're not sold in retail shops, then you're right, Aaron. Then that might be, those haven't been really tested that well, and they're trying to get their footing, and they're going to end up having to make some revisions and things to get out there, I think. But once it hits the point where it's hit a retail shop, I promise it is pretty damn reliable because it takes so much money to get there.
That's what I was about to say. They have to raise so much capital to even like get like the R&D that must go into all this, just like the huge amount of like user data, user research, like design, all that kind of stuff that goes into these things, like any other tech company. And then to exhibit at SCS is like, and in and of itself, such like a huge honor that these companies are probably, you know, one, I think a lot of these companies are probably like they've developed other sex technology that has worked in the past, or they have other, you know, so they're innovating in other areas, or, you know, they do have something that's like really like this V patch thing. We should really talk about this.
Yeah. Okay.
This is really cool.
Right.
So this is not the first year that they've exhibited, because I saw this in 2020. I think it was the same company, but basically it's this patch that you put on. It's like, I would say the size, it's like an inch by an inch, it looks like, that you put on your gooch, so like between your balls and your anus.
That men do. Is it really a patch, or is it like a little clip? Can you tell how it attaches? Because I couldn't quite figure that out.
Like it's, it looks to me like it's more like a wearable skin patch, scientifically engineered to delay. So basically, it's scientifically engineered to delay ejaculation.
Yes, but how does it stay attached?
I read just. Yeah, that's what I wondered, is how it stays attached. Funnily enough,
it's FDA approved. It's the world's first and only FDA cleared wearable skin patch, scientifically engineered to delay ejaculation.
And so and they're doing that by controlling how much stimulation goes on the nerves and stuff. So they're basically sort of limiting the sensation, I think, so that you don't get too excited, I guess is the term.
There's an app.
The FDA approval, that's where so many things and so many different items are trying to get FDA approval, because when they get FDA approval, they can get covered by insurance. Mm-hmm. That's the big clincher there. And that's where there's so much money involved. So once they get FDA approval, they can get more funding. And then they go bigger, which is
this seems like something that could definitely be like a real health need that could be covered by, like, that could come under the umbrella of insurance company. Like, you need this kind of tech to help you.
Yeah.
Just like Viagra or something.
Right. And I love that. So there's Viagra, there's this, but the fact is, what about women, right? There are so many women that struggle to have an orgasm. And yet there's not a vibrator that is covered by insurance. There aren't dilators that are covered by insurance that help us like stretch out and allow for penetration. So while the FDA is okay with dealing with, men have a hard time getting an orgasm, they completely overlook the fact or ignore the effort that women have to go through. And that, again, just seems kind of like bullshit and whatever. But that's
so here's more about the patch. It's wearable, and it stimulates the muscles and the nerves, and it's controlled by an app, and you push a button on your phone to turn on. It inhibits the rhythmic muscle contractions when ejaculation is delayed, and it can be applied hours before intercourse. So and it'll be available to purchase in the fall.
But
and it still doesn't say how it's attached. It must just be sticky stuff, I guess.
I think it must just be like some sort of like sticky something, because it doesn't seem...
And what's the name so people can search it up?
It's called VTech is the company. Virility Tech.
Virility Tech. Okay.
Virility Tech. And then I think it's just like their main thing that they make. It's called let's see, the Virility Patch. So
yeah, that'll be interesting.
I mean, if they want to send me one to try, but I don't like I have so many questions about how this tech would work and all this stuff. And like, if it is a sticky substance that holds it to your body, like peeling it off, like you think peeling off a Band-Aid on your arm,
there's
or like
there's videos about it. So you can watch stuff online. I'm sure you can go to their website and like,
all right.
It looks to me. So it's funny because they sell them in 4 packs of 4 patches, and like when I'm looking at the picture now, it almost looks like a condom looking like device. So maybe it's only meant for like
maybe it's disposable. One time use.
I can
That would make sense where
it
is going to stick like a Band-Aid kind of thing. Wow.
Yeah, but
you
again,
shave really
I go
well.
back to, you think ripping a Band-Aid hurts at times, or if you put it on a sensitive part where you don't have a lot of, or your nerve endings haven't been deadened a lot. Think about down there. Yeah.
Okay.
But not only that.
There's one thing.
Like, now I want to know, especially if it's disposable and it's one-time use, what the price point is on it and how you go about, because if this thing is controlled via an app on your phone, technically you would have to repair a new patch every time because it's going to be coded differently. So
I have no idea. So
I don't know.
Probably.
V-Tech or what is it called? Virility?
It's called Virility Patch.
Yeah, but what's the company name?
It's called V-Tech.
Virility Medical. Virility Medical. Well, I got some questions for you. If you want to send us one, we'll play with it on the air or something. But I'm so not confused.
You'll do it on the air, Aaron?
Not
That's
like
brave
that.
Of you.
No, I'll stick it to the back of my hand.
Well, then it's not going to be attached to the right nerves and stuff like that.
I know, but I still want to see like how sticky is this substance, because again, one more thing that I don't know. I'm sure they thought of it because they've gone through all of this testing, as you say. When you're having sex, you kind of sweat, and it's got to be able to withstand sweat down there too and not come off. So
yeah, that's a very good point.
I want to know how they accomplish all of these roadblocks.
Yeah.
So we can also talk about this company, Lara DiCarlo. They also premiered a kind of interesting new thing this year. They called it the human mouth robot, but they called it the Baci Baci, which is kiss in Italian.
Yeah, and this might be the first year that product is at the CES, but it's been out for a little bit because I know I've seen it.
Maybe, but it was introduced to this year, this specific Baci Baci, but it's entirely new category consumer tech for women's health. It's an intelligent robot that replicates the feel and motion of human lips and tongue. So kind of like their maybe first few products, but like if you guys could see a picture of it, it's literally like, it looks kind of like, I don't know, it's like a circular or oval shaped, and then I'm guessing you take the top off, and then on the inside, it's got this like hole on top of like some, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like
it's got a hole for suction things.
For suction and then nothing else. So it's like, it's just for this one thing.
We actually, if you saved the picture or something, you could share the screen and you could show a picture of it actually.
On my screen, can I share my screen? Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, for sure. So let's see.
Kind of looks I don't know what like if you had a big chocolate Easter egg. That's kind of what it looks like a little bit to me.
Yeah.
And but then it's got a little hole in it for the clit. So I've always wondered, because I don't see it as being very hands friendly because of the shape and everything. Like it doesn't have a handle. So you have to actually keep your hand on it in one place, which I thought was a little strange. So
I don't think I can share my screen without stopping the video. I'd have to reset Chrome down because I have to give some permission. So anyways, we can do it another time. But
okay.
But yeah, it's weird. It's a weird looking thing.
Okay.
Then there's another thing this year by Satisfier, which is interesting. It's called the air blowing wand. So it's supposed to stimulate blowing air.
Oh, instead of just the suction on the clit, it's gonna blow air. Yes. It's kind of funny. Yeah, so Satisfier. Okay, so Womanizer, and I think one of the Womanizer products was also at CES. I'm pretty sure. I don't know, last year, this year. So Womanizer was the first company that started with this clit suction kind of vibrators and things. And that was several years ago. Satisfier came out. In fact, they had a lawsuit between the two of them for patent infringement and stuff like that. So, but now Satisfier has a whole bunch of different suction products, as well as some other, just like a warming rabbit vibrator and stuff like that. And they're working on the apps again. I just blanked on the WeVibe was the first one that had the app controlled products. And now so many of them are doing, and Satisfier is one of the ones working on those app controlled things. So, but Womanizer is like twice the price of Satisfier, and they claim better technology. I don't really know. I prefer the feel of the Satisfier ones personally, but I know a lot of people who really love their Womanizer, and there are some really cool designs and things like that too. So, but
Tina, you're up for another
Okay,
test run for both of them.
Hell yeah, I'll definitely do that.
They need to send you one of each and let you just figure it out.
yeah, actually, it would be good to have us. You can't have side by side because we only have one clit, but it would be
you can do
really
back to
interesting
back.
Compare the two things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a really interesting one too, but I'll definitely try anything. I want to try that controversial one. I want to try this one. And then the cool thing about this Air one is it seems like it's pretty reasonable price point. Like it seems like they're going to start selling it for $60 as opposed to like some of the more expensive ones that with this other company, like the Osé, which is like $300,
Yeah, the Lara DiCarlos are several $100s. Satisfiers are generally under about $100, which is pretty amazing.
So I just sent you guys a video, but this is another company that debuted at CES this year. It's a Norwegian company, but if you scroll down, I wish you guys could see my screen, but there's a video of it. But it's basically a self-controlled, this is for the men. They called it the Handy US socket. But it's basically like a pocket pussy, but it's it's automatic. You don't have to. You can charge it, and it does all the work for you, as you can see in the video.
Okay, so it's a stroker, thinking a Fleshlight, but one that actually then strokes a cock. So you put it around the cock, and then it's going to have suction within it, kind of like vacuum stuff. Mm-hmm. And the interesting thing is that the Handy is also app controlled. Who knew? Yeah, which is going to be really, really interesting. And they claim that it's one size fits all.
Yeah, that was my question is how do you because this thing has to be if you're going to make it a one size fits all, it's got to be fucking bulky. It's got to be the size of my freaking laptop. And having that and using it is one thing. Two, storing and taking care and cleaning and all that seems like a lot of effort.
So this is really interesting. So this is the article I sent you, but this is what they're saying in terms of what this is for. And we kind of talked about this, but basically they're kind of, I think, putting their hopes in one of the unique features of this is that the API in this allows third parties to make apps and software that can sync with Handy. So it's something that the sex tech community has leveraged by creating plugins for existing games. So for example, in the Metaverse, this could be huge because this could be something that really stimulates the act of sex. Right. And you can really personalize it and make it very kind of conform it to exactly how you want it to be.
Well, and so what they're doing, and this is so if you, for example, just watch porn and you're watching somebody fuck somebody else, then you're going to be able to coordinate this. So you're going to be feeling what you're watching.
Exactly.
Which is going to be really, I think, really freaking crazy when you then pair it also with the VR, because then you're going to be in the middle of it. And
this is going to lead to the downfall of humanity.
It's a really scary thing. I'm actually with you on this. That the lines are getting so blurry between reality and virtual. We call it virtual reality, but it's not reality. But we call it that, right? We're already prepared for this to be another. So it is very interesting. And I don't know. I think I told y'all that once I was at one of the, I've never been to the CES, but at one of the like probably ABN or something. I did try the virtual reality goggles with porn. And so, because I've always said, oh, I'd like to have a cock and know what that feels like. Well, so the porn that I watched with these glasses was two women giving me head. Like I had a male body and I could look down and I could see this male body and I could see these women playing with my cock and stuff. It was so interesting. It was so bizarre. And I can only imagine that if I really did have a cock and I had that, that handy, it would be hard. People used to say, like men would joke, oh, if they were a dog and they could lick their own balls, they'd never leave the house. Well, I'm a little wondering whether that's going to be an issue for a lot of people now.
Well, I mean, survey after survey has come out since 2020 that like millennials and especially millennials in relationships are having less and less sex because they get distracted by video games or apps or TikTok or any of that shit. So they're not, okay, so even then you're starting to deteriorate procreation because that's what sex is primarily for. Now you're going to
Sex
yes, it is
not primarily.
Number one,
no, people when they want to have kids, they have sex. When people have sex.
The human body was designed to make another human body through one process and one process only.
Yes, but then we were designed to have pleasure, whether or not we're trying to have another baby. So, yeah.
Well, this is like, so basically, I mean, this is what Hardy wants to do. This is what this device wants to do. They want, as virtual reality becomes more commonplace in home, Handy wants to help people rethink how they use technology for pleasure. Now people can feel what they see using Handy as a stroker is compatible with VR viewing technology. This means that device can be synced to mimic the motion that is happening on screen for a completely new sensation. I mean, it's literally what you were saying. Like, they're putting their eggs in this basket, I'm guessing, you know? So, yeah. All their eggs.
But
none of the fertilized eggs.
I mean, okay, Tina, as a single woman, what does that do to your dating pool of guys who might be a potential mate who all of a sudden find this and go, well, shit, I don't have to buy her dinner. I don't have to put up with her bitching. I don't have to put up with periods. I mean, fuck this. Okay, I've got a fucking thing that will just take care of it for me, and I can put on these magic goggles that just show me whatever I want. So if I want to fuck Jem Jameson, oh, look, I can. But, like, again, another alien race is going to visit Earth in 1,000 years and go, man, there was a downfall. This species looked like it had everything under control on this planet and just disappeared. What the fuck happened? Well, they stopped making more fucking humans.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think that, like, obviously there are other things about sex. Like, this only mimics just one single type of sex, like, act, and it'll probably, in a good way, but not, again, like, nothing's ever going to come that close.
But you said earlier that everything is constantly evolving. It's just one now. It's going to evolve to include everything here shortly.
Maybe we will evolve beyond, like, or maybe we will figure out. I hope I never see it that, like, we don't need each other for sexual pleasure, but I don't think that that's coming. I don't see that. I mean, people are worried about the same thing in, like, the metaverse. So, like, the thing where, like, Mark Zuckerberg had that commercial where he was, like, coming home to, like, see his kids after work, but, like, he was, like, seeing them in the metaverse, and people were like, well, that's kind of fucked up. Like, it's not really, like, you coming home and seeing your children. Like, you're just literally, like, a computer, and your kids are computers. And, like, people are saying it's because it's true. I think, and
I guess the one thing, when we started being able to watch movies at home, there was this whole big deal like, oh, theaters are going to go bad. And that once we had cable, the TV was going to go bad. And the fact is that there are parts of things that we still really like, and that people are designed to procreate, and we are designed to have pleasure, but we're also designed and we are programmed to want to bond with each other, to want more than just an orgasm, because that's been an argument for, decades, hundreds of years about vibrators. Well, if women can just use a vibrator, get it off, then what do they need a man for? Well, that's because a vibrator doesn't eat dinner with them, doesn't talk, doesn't give them a compliment, doesn't snuggle, it's just not human, and it won't. So if you want to talk about, that's where I think the problem is, that the sex dolls, those are going to get very close to human. They're going to use, and they already are, AI.
I mean, all this tech is going
saying things, and Right. So those, I think that is a problem. And so you're right. We need to emphasize and start really being real about what our priorities are and what we want from one another on a regular basis. And then it's going to be up to us to enforce some discipline, I suppose, right? To not indulge in technology all the time, to drag ourselves away from the video games. And yeah, you don't think
good luck
we
with
have it,
that.
so
Everybody,
well,
every single corner of this world is preaching. You can never overindulge. You just do whatever feels good to you. Don't worry about responsibilities or anything like that or making the right choice. As long as it feels good to you, you're okay.
Well,
good luck with that.
I mean, we talk
eventually
about
that's
sex all
going
the
to
time,
bite
but you know
everybody in the
damn well.
ass.
Yeah, I mean, we never say that. Like, I think sexy is a really important part of life, but never would I be like, oh, this is the only part of life. That's absurd, right? There are all these different aspects. And so but hey, human, I don't know. We can't.
I mean, it is
People have
scary.
to
To
do.
me, it's like real. Like, I agree. Like, I think there's like entering this new era of tech. It's really, and everything. It's really weird. Like, it's really weird. It could potentially have like huge consequences on so many of our like day-to-day lives. But at the same time, like, it doesn't mean that we can't be. We should be scared to like innovate. I don't think that's you don't have an option. I think that this is like where the
Right.
world is going, and you have to be able to like, find a way to mix what is real and what isn't in like a healthy way. I'm sure, I really do think the next 20 years of our lives are going to be taken up by this really huge question of like where what's real and where do we draw the line and stuff in tech. So
Yeah. And I guess my thought would be, if we could make sexy more okay, more and information more accessible and in the real life, not in the virtual life, that would also help. Because part of the reason that the VR and everything flourished so much and that porn flourishes so much is because it is so prohibited. It is so taboo. It is something, people are not really, they're not encouraged to find really happy, sexy, exciting, passionate experiences in quote real life. So we try to find it other ways. So, I mean, okay, I'll get up on our little soapbox, but I really hope that part of what we're doing is helping encourage people. So, these things, I love the idea of trying these things and checking them out and using apps, but I want people to try and find the partner, somebody that they care about, like to really go and indulge with and to experiment with and to use them to enhance life, not simply allow us to retreat from life and from love, I guess. That's my
I also think that along with this, innovating in sex specifically also has like good implications with people who have like disabilities or accessibility issues and stuff like that. So you can't only, like there are more fringe groups and stuff who are benefiting probably a lot from innovation in sex that we don't necessarily, know or understand or have any like ideas about. So,
and the fact is, COVID is still running rampant, and orgasm does help people fight infection 20% better. I mean, we really talking about healthy orgasms on a regular basis is a really important thing. And so in terms of sexual health and wellness, that should be a big one. And yet they're not even, everybody's afraid to say that, but it really is true. So I don't know.
Yeah.
All right.
I think.
Was there anything else? Any other particular product? Oh, one thing. Let's see. There was. Hold on. Oh, there was a cock ring that also has an app and everything. That I think it's called a signet ring. That I think is pretty cool. Just because, Aaron, if you remember when I did the radio show on ESPN, and right, one of the co-hosts wore a remote controlled vibrating cock ring. It was so much fun. It was so exciting. I loved the idea that people can go out and men can be wearing this and their partner can basically be teasing them in a very, torturous painfully pleasurable way and wearing that out and about. I think I'm excited. What was that show? The Ugly Truth?
Yeah.
Where Katherine Heigl had that remote control panty thing. Like, I'm dying for a movie to have this, and it's going to be a guy wearing it and stuff. I think that's going to be tons of fun. So.
Yeah, I again.
And
You would wear that.
Actually, the one that's wearable is also temperature controlled by your partner. Funnily, so you can control the heat of not only the vibrations but the heat through the app. So
yeah. But Aaron, you would wear that if your wife wanted to, right?
Oh hell yeah! But again, I have issues. I have I guess not contingency, but what do they call it? Like logistics questions about how it works and how certain. Because I mean, obviously, when you put it on, you're probably pretty excited. But you know, if you were to go out somewhere and you're out running errands or out at a dinner party or something like that, and your partner has it, obviously the blood isn't going to be flowing there constantly, so things contract and things expand and stuff like that. So how it stays on without completely being so tight it cuts off circulation is going to, I don't know, it's a curious thing for me.
Oh, yeah, so it is... And that one, I'm not sure because some of them are more flexible and some of them aren't. So some of them, if you are very girthy, it's not going to be particularly comfortable. But you actually have to put them on when you're not excited. You have to use lube and put them on when maybe you have like a chubby, a little half something, but not when you're fully erect because it won't go on then. So, yeah, but definitely the circumference can be an issue for some people. And that I know some couples where it's just been stretched so much that the silicone has broken, that it just couldn't withstand it. So
damn,
that would be there. It's going to be a limited size thing, but otherwise it's going to, just like you have to wear something, you wear a ring on your finger. And sometimes if your fingers swell up, right, that can be uncomfortable. But generally, it's not. That's what it's going to feel like. It's going to be a little bit of constriction, but not too much.
And this is probably too many details that I wanted to divulge, and I'm not the only one who has this. My ring finger doesn't double in size at some point because of heat or cold.
Right.
Mine does. Oh my god! When I drink,
it doubles. Full on doubles.
Literally, this ring that I was wearing had to be removed by a PA, like a physician's assistant, with her surgical. Like she didn't have to saw it off, but she had to use her needle and thread to get off because I had drank so much and my fingers had expanded.
Only Tina.
I don't think you're understanding what I'm saying, but okay.
Right. No. I'm saying right. So, yeah, it is. So you probably want to have some kind of blood flow kind of going and whatever. And yeah, that would be interesting. And probably if you're completely soft, it might just fall off.
Yeah, I don't know. Who makes it? Satisfier? Satisfier, send us one.
Yeah, I don't know. Is that one by?
I don't know.
Is that one by Satisfier? I didn't even notice. But
it's got their logo on it.
But okay. So the way that cock rings work is blood flows to the cock through the middle, and then it leaves the cock through the outside. So cock rings constrict the exterior. So all the blood goes in there and stays, which means once it's on and it's a little bit snug, it's probably going to keep you at a fairly, half mast, as I would say, generally anyway, which is probably what's going to keep it on.
Yeah, but again, that...
All right. Well, we want to try it. Yes. I would definitely like to hear your take on that. So, all right. Hey, maybe we'll get one in time for our Valentine's special where we're going to talk about all sorts of different gifts and things like that.
Oh, yeah. We have to make a list of everything we want to try out.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, and so for you listener, if you're listening and you want some feedback or you want to hear about certain ones, then let us know what you're curious about and what you might be thinking about for Valentine's Day, because it's going to be here in about a blink of an eye. So let us know, because we're going to start working on our Valentine's issues.
Or if you have tried something that went very, very wrong and you want to warn the general public of, hey, I bought this because I thought it would be sexy fun and it turned out to be a trip to the ER because it doesn't work as well, let us know.
Yeah. And I do know buying from online from people you don't know is a little bit scary. So I will tell you that these are things I don't buy just on on Amazon. I got to tell you, I go to a retail store. I am happy to pay a good price to know that it's going to be safe. It's not going to be something that's, I don't know, what do they call it? Like recertified or passed on, because there have been articles
certified pre-owned
people at different places open. Yeah. And people who like workers who are open things and try. And anyway, so anyway.
Well, the cool thing about, I think like something with like CES and why we're trying to highlight it is really, it is the forefront of like sex tech. So it's kind of what you'll be seeing in the next, I think, few years kind of trickle down to like the consumer level and stuff. But this is like kind of where we're going in the field of tech, sex, and health, because like health is a really important part of it, and they
sexy is a huge part of health,
right?
That's exactly. So
all
right, so Aaron, you want to tell them where they can find us and stuff?
Yeah, if you also have any recommendations or you want us to try or test out certain products before our Valentine's Day special, or you have a word of warning or anything that's on your mind, just hit us up on Instagram or Facebook. It's at Come With Us Podcast. On Twitter, it's at Come With Us Pod. DMs are open on all three of those. And then email, it's comewithusconfessions@gmail.com. That's comewithusconfessions@gmail.com. Again, anything that's on your mind, shoot it our way, and we'll be happy to read it. We'll keep it private, of course, and not blast your information to the world. But yeah, hit us
unless
up.
you want us to.
Yeah, unless you really want us to. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast, whether it's Spotify or Apple or anything like that. But especially if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, go and rate us 5 stars and leave a review so more people find us, because you found us somehow. So you want more people to find us. You're going to be on the ground floor. So like 5 years from now, you can go, oh yeah, I knew them when.
Yeah,
very true.
Everybody likes to be that person, that hipster that I knew before it was popular. Mm-hmm. You can be that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Or girl.
Or woman. Or boy. Or anything in between. Anything.
Let's stick away from like, let's keep it adult.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yeah, please do. And by the way, you can find me at sexiestschool.com. Please go and sign up for my little love letters. I'll send you a love letter or so a week, and you can find all the different classes. And I've got Learn to Love, Oral and All right now, a live online class for women that is open for enrollment, and course will officially start on January 25th. So please go to sexiestschool.com, go check that out. And also, let's see, wait, I was thinking, and I was going to tell you, I lost it. Damn, the brain stuff. Menopause. So crazy. But thank you all for being here with us as we do our first, basically our first recorded video recorder. Yeah, I don't even know, but our first on-camera podcast episode.
Yep.
Hopefully this will be the first of many, and we'll have all sorts of fun with it. So we are so glad you're here. Oh, I knew there was something. So what I was going to tell you is, do you know, like we're like way up in India. We are very popular last week or a couple of weeks or something like that in India. It's so interesting. So really, if you'd also send us a message, if you're watching this from wherever, some small town in Podunk, USA, or some big city in some other country or wherever, send us a message and let us know where you're watching from. So, and if you want, we would love to give you a shout out on here, but it really pleases us no end to know that we are international, right? Sexy is universal. It is international. And it's such a pleasure to join, to bring the world together, talking about healthy, happy, wonderful, sexy fun. So, and all the bare naked truth about love, sex, and relationships. So, all right. Well, thank you guys. I'm Beth Darling, your sexy genius from sexiestschool.com. Thank you, Aaron and Tina, for being here and for talking about all of this sexy fun stuff with me today.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Come With Us podcast. Be sure to follow us on social media at Come With Us Podcast and send in your questions, comments, and confessions to comewithusconfessions@gmail.com. Until next time, keep it fun, flirty, and naughty.